we had the Hall of Fame announcement that not Scott Hall, but Razor Ramon being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, class of 2014. Well-deserved induction. Some people think the Razor Ramon character is not Hall of Fame worthy. The Razor Ramon character, to me, is very Hall of Fame worthy, considering that they have people in the Hall of Fame who never held championships before, never even did much in WWE. They did a lot of stuff elsewhere, not WWE. So how can you say that Razor Ramon, a character that at one time was a headliner, for much of his run, he was just beneath that level. But when he first came in, some people may not really remember this, but when he first came in, it was very soon after that he was headlining pay-per-views. He was headlining Survivor Series, teaming with Ric Flair against Randy Savage and Mr. Perfect. I know it wasn't the last match on the show, but that was still the real featured main event. He went on to the Royal Rumble, the very next pay-per-view, to wrestle Bret Hart for the WWE Championship. So initially in his run, he was much bigger than your average guy who would debut one week on Superstars and get a nice little mid-card run. And then he went on, the fans started warming to him. They turned him babyface. He won the Intercontinental title the first time. He ended up winning the title 4 times. The first guy to hold the Intercontinental belt that many times. Now, it means nothing. I mean, everybody holds every championship so many times. That doesn't mean what it meant 15, 20 years ago. Chris Jericho's like a 9-time Intercontinental champion. But back then, when you would 3-peat or you would 4-peat, that meant something. It still had some meaning to it. And he was one of the harder pushed guys during his run in WWE. Now, true, business during that period wasn't exactly hot. You could say, well, he was pushed as an upper mid-card guy at a time when business was really, in the dumps. That's true. But he accomplished a lot during his run. He had that ladder match at WrestleMania with Shawn Michaels, the second ladder match, which in some ways I think is better than the first one. So I have no problem with the idea that the Razor Ramon character is Hall of Fame worthy. I just think it's weird for them to not acknowledge any of his NWO run. Just put him in as Scott Hall, and to not acknowledge any of his NWO run. And yes, I know they're probably saving it for another Hall of Fame induction later on, as part of the Outsiders, or as part of the NWO. Maybe they'll do it in 2 years. 1996 is when the NWO was born. Maybe they're going to wait until 2016, 20-year anniversary, and put in the NWO as a faction. Okay, I had 1 million people write in to tell me that they're only saving him for the NWO. It makes total sense. It's fine. They're going to put him in again. Look, I know. Okay, I know. That doesn't make it any less goofy. It's like, if Sean Waltman does the induction, are they going to refer to him as the 1-2-3 kid? I mean, is the 1-2-3 kid going to be the one to induct Razor Ramon into the Hall of Fame? Because Razor Ramon helped make the 1-2-3 kid, not Sean Waltman. So when he gets up there, they should call him the 1-2-3 kid. Or if Nash does the induction, it should be Diesel up there doing the induction, not Kevin Nash. Kevin Nash inducting Razor Ramon makes no sense. Happy to see the guy going into the Hall of Fame. Not a big fan of them putting characters in the Hall of Fame. It's just, if you're going to put the guy in, put the guy in. Scott Hall, for his whole body of work. The guy was part of one of the biggest angles in wrestling history. It sparked the Monday Night War. It sparked this whole big boom period for wrestling. He was as much a part of that as anybody. So it's kind of silly not to acknowledge that. And maybe he'll go off script and he'll talk about it at the Hall of Fame, or maybe he won't, but I don't know. It just seems kind of goofy to me. But that makes 2 Hall of Fame inductions this year that never would have happened were it not for the intervention of Diamond Dallas Page. I say, forget his 3 WCW titles. I think DDP deserves a Hall of Fame induction for that alone.